let me just say that sitting here and listening to Michael and David, I wanted to reflect that 6 years ago, and either 6 conferences ago, or 9 if you count the 4 that we held in regional areas last year, we launched with the Sierra Club and the Steelworkers and David Foster, the Blue-Green Alliance. At that time, we launched it at the National Press Club. There was Carl Pope from the Sierra Club, myself from the Steelworkers, and Dave Foster, who we had appointed as the executive director. And 3 or 4 other media folks came because they actually thought we were crazy and didn't quite know what we were doing. Since then, we've made a terrific impact, and you may not know this, but of the affiliate organizations affiliated to the Blue-Green Alliance, we have close to 15 million affiliated members. If we can motivate and mobilize those members, we can make a whole difference. And I'm one of the folks that wants to say it's not good jobs or a clean environment. It's not either or. For us and for our kids and our grandkids and our grandkids' grandkids, it's either going to be both or neither in the long run. And Michael and David's points about coming together and creating a movement are real. And the movement isn't just about green jobs, because we can't define what a green job is in real terms for many people. If you're going to build wind turbines and you're going to use steel that's made in America, I can tell you what, that will revitalize plate mills and our steel mills. And when we revitalize those plate mills, we can do it in an energy efficient way, and we can save energy. And we can make what would then become a green product because we'd be making windmills. Let me run through some of the opportunities for real jobs. And we ought to mobilize for these jobs. We ought not let the naysayers in Congress or at the state level stop us from making progress. More than 50% of the schools in the U.S. that our kids and our grandkids go to are more than 50 years old. That means they're inefficient in the energy they produce and the heating and cooling systems. Our water treatment plants. In many places, our cities and towns don't have water treatment plants. We ought to make sure that they do. We ought to fight for that at the municipal level, at the state level, and the federal level. Our buildings. Most of our public buildings, whether they're courthouses or city halls or federal buildings, most of them are more than 50 years old. They're inefficient. They use and waste energy in a way that we can't imagine. You heard Michael talk about water lines and gas lines and oil pipelines. 2.5 million miles of existing pipeline, of which the majority was built before there were any regulations for pipelines. Those are real jobs. Building them, installing them, putting the most scientific monitoring systems in them, mass transit. You go to our major cities and we're all clogged, we can't get around, fighting for mass transit, fighting for high-speed rail, demanding that that be made in America, at least at a percentage. I can tell you that we lost 360 members in a plant that was making collars for wind turbines because that company wanted to make those wind turbines in China, and China said, unless you're going to have 80% domestic content, you can't produce wind turbines in China. That plant closed. They made those collars now in China, and that company is now producing in China. We need to make a stand about that. Solar, biomass, those are all opportunities for real jobs. And let me just run through a couple of statistics. In less than a decade, China has become the largest market for wind. The U.S. now ranks 10th in installed clean energy capacity. And I can say without fear of being wrong, since the election in 2010, and I may offend if there's any Republicans here, just raise your hand if I piss you off. Since the Republicans got elected in the majority of the House in 2010, they've set the whole economic agenda back, and they stopped the movement to good jobs and a clean environment. And we need to make sure that they don't survive that. They have to pay a price for that. They have to pay a price for what they're doing to my kids' and grandkids' future. China installed more solar energy than the United States for the first time in 2011. If you follow what's being said, China said they were going to dominate the solar panel industry globally, even if they had to sell below the cost of production. We filed a trade case against China in 5 areas on renewable energy, and so far we've won 4. But you know what? It's pretty damn lonely out there. All of you, whether you're in the labor movement, whether you're in the environmental movement, need to take a stand that all of those things that I've run through, a huge percentage of that should be made in America so that we can get the R&D, and as we clean up the environment, as we make it safer for the next generation, we're also creating good jobs for the future for our kids and our grandkids as well as for ourselves. That's the purpose of the Blue-Green Alliance. The Blue-Green Alliance isn't just a social club where we can come together once every year and complain about what we didn't do or what we didn't accomplish. The Blue-Green Alliance has to be turned into a movement for good jobs and a clean environment. And you're part of that movement, and thank you for being here.